they should buy the Bitcoin on an exchange that they trust, probably a regulated exchange. It depends on whether you're in London, or whether you're in France, or whether you're in Australia or Brazil or the US. Normally pick a regulated, trustworthy entity in whatever country that you have domicile.
Bitcoin's future is about exciting growth and endless possibilities as regular money loses its value because of inflation. Bitcoin is a strong option, a rare digital object that is changing the financial world and is becoming more popular around the globe. It's not just an investment, it's the basis for a new digital economy. In a conversation, Michael Saylor shares his strong belief about the future of Bitcoin. He thinks it will increase in value by an average of 29% each year for the next 21 years, potentially reaching $13 million per coin by 2045. Sailboat Challen think about the long run. Would you trade 5 Bitcoin today for a sports car, or would you keep them and potentially have $65 million in the future? This comparison is very relatable. Bitcoin isn't just a risky investment. It can be a way to build wealth and achieve financial independence for future generations. The lesson from the Sailor is simple. The choices you make today about Bitcoin could shape your future. The true strength of Bitcoin comes from being patient and having a clear vision. It's not just about making fast money, it's about recognizing its ability to create a better future for those who can look beyond the immediate gains. Bitcoin is more than just an asset. It can be a key to lasting success in our changing digital world. Let's watch some clips from Michael Saylor's talk to learn more. Please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more detailed information. Thank you for being with us again. Have fun watching the movie.
I think there are 3 reasonable ways to acquire Bitcoin. And the right way depends upon who you are, what stage of life you're in, where you live. Also, whether you're acquiring it for yourself, your family, or your company, or your government, or institution. And so if you're an institutional investor and you're acquiring it for your charity or your city or your government or your company, and you just want the economic exposure, you might just buy the spot ETF. And there are spot ETFs like IBIT from BlackRock or FBTC. And every country in the world, right, there are ETFs in Europe, and there are ETFs in Brazil, and there are ETFs in Germany and Australia and the like. And for some people, what they should hold is they should hold Bitcoin wrapped as a security. Now if you're a senior citizen and you just kind of want it in your retirement account or something, and you want to be invested 2% in it or 3% in it, in that particular case, that might also make sense, because you just pick up the phone, call your broker and say, just buy me a bunch of this thing. And you put the phone down after 10 seconds and it's done. And your bank, JP Morgan or Wells Fargo or whatever, Morgan Stanley, they've just done it for you, and it took 10 seconds. And my 86-year-old father is not going to actually self-custody, change jurisdictions, move to another country, and run in a hardware wallet. So for a group of people, that's the right call. For another group of people, they should buy the Bitcoin on an exchange that they trust, probably a regulated exchange. It depends on whether you're in London, or whether you're in France, or whether you're in Australia or Brazil or the US. Normally pick a regulated, trustworthy entity in whatever country that you have domicile. And then you buy Bitcoin and you buy the commodity. And then I would say for many people, it's okay just to put it into cold storage or put it with a custodian they trust. Many people custody with Fidelity, some custody with Coinbase. There are large banks in Brazil like Banco Itaú. So there are other regulated custodians that people trust. If you've already got an account with them and you trust them, then that would be simple. Standard Chartered Bank is another example of a regulated custodian. And then there's a third group of people that would want to take self-custody. And if you're capable of handling your own, if you're an adult, I would say you should be probably more than 18. maybe you should be less than 75. Not because I don't think senior citizens can do it. I just think that their eyesight's not that good, right? Like at some point, if your eyes aren't that good, you have a hard time reading the hardware wallet and you struggle with that, then maybe you would think about it. But if you're pretty facile with a computer and you're facile with a phone and you're capable of managing your own assets, and if you have a need to, then you should take self-custody. And so another way to say is the more uncertain your future and the longer your future is, the more important it is for you to own Bitcoin and not own the security version of it. If you were sitting in Lebanon or you were in the middle of Africa and, my checklist would be, well, do you trust the bank? No. Do you trust the government? No. Do you trust the currency? No. Do you think you might need to change countries or cross the border with all your money? Yes. In that case, it's a no-brainer. You should have the Bitcoin in self-custody, or you should have it in a custodian that you trust outside of that country. But, at the point where you're like 85 years old and you're not leaving your living room, for the rest of your life, at that point, then probably you take a different view because you're different. And companies, like my company, MicroStrategy, we hold Bitcoin because we want to be able to move the Bitcoin between any custodian in the world or take self-custody. And when you do that as a commodity, there's no taxable event. So you're keeping optionality. If I needed to put it in London or I needed to move it between 100 different custodians, or if I wanted to take self-custody, I can do that without a taxable event. I wouldn't hold the security, because right now securities law in the US and the treatment of Bitcoin ETFs is you would have to sell the ETF, take a taxable capital gain, and then move the cash and then repurchase somewhere else. And that's a inefficiency of the current market structure. It might be cured if we get to in-kind create and redemption of Bitcoin ETFs, but right now it's an inefficiency. So I think if you think you need to move the asset around, you're advantaged and you have better property rights holding the commodity, the pure property, rather than holding the security.
Michael Saylor describes Bitcoin as the best type of digital ownership, comparing it to having valuable real estate in Manhattan when it was first developed. He points out that Bitcoin has a limited supply of 21 million. Bitcoin is limited, safe, and easy to carry, making it ideal for today's digital world. A Saylor says that people find out about Bitcoin when they need help during problems like hyperinflation or financial crisis. It's not just money, it's a way to keep their wealth safe easily. Bitcoin provides lasting value, allowing anyone to easily and securely keep and transfer millions of dollars worldwide. Michael Saylor breaks down 3 innovative ways to own Bitcoin based on your needs for ease ETFs, such as BlackRock's IBIT. Make it easy to invest, which is great for retired or casual investors. If you want more control, you can buy Bitcoin on reliable exchanges and store it safely with custodians like Fidelity, making it both secure and easy to access. Freedom. Self-custody is a game changer, especially in unstable areas, regardless of your position. Bitcoin is the best choice for safe, movable, and reliable wealth. Let's watch more clips from the chat.
I do, actually. I think that Bitcoin is emerging as the world's reserve capital network. It is the dominant capital network of the world. So the dollar is the world's reserve currency. And you recall, I said money is currency if it's short-term medium exchange. It's capital if it's long-term store of value. And if I wanted to send $1 billion from one point on the earth to the other, right? The choice is ship $1 billion of gold, move $1 billion building, or send Bitcoin, or send $1 billion of paintings. You can see paintings aren't fungible. They don't make good money. A building isn't portable. It doesn't make good money. Gold, gold failed as a capital network 400 years ago when the King of Spain tried to send a bunch of gold to the Netherlands to finance his army. It got blocked by Queen Elizabeth. She bankrupted the Spanish army, and that's why the Netherlands is Protestant and not Catholic today. So it's pretty obvious. Bitcoin is a great capital network, and it's a great capital asset. It makes sense for the U.S. to own it, because if the U.S. owns that capital network, then anybody that wants to sell their Russian real estate or their Chinese natural gas fields is going to buy Bitcoin. So if you know where everybody's going, if you know everybody in the rest of the world is going to Bitcoin, and if you know everybody in the 20th century is going to trade their 20th century assets for 21st century assets, you might as well buy a big chunk of the network so that when they get there, you're the beneficiary of it. And I think Trump is a pretty good business person, and this is an economic brilliant stroke. So I think that they get it, they understand it, and we will see the U.S. Move very, very aggressively into Bitcoin at some point in time. I think a lot of different routines work for different people. It depends on your culture and where you live, but right now my daily routine would be to be up with the sunlight. So when the sun rises, I'm moving. Make sure I start the day with a bit of exercise. Then study and absorb what's going on in the marketplace, and then start to engage. And I've got a bunch of business, projects and activities I'm always working on, and then I've got a bunch of communication. So I think that if you combine that with focus, I would say the principles for success are, focus, figure out what you're going to do. I think it's more important. The world wants you to be really good at something. It doesn't want you to be decent at 100 different things. And I think that, and I don't think the world wants my opinion on the 99 other things. If you're not the foremost expert on the one thing, and if you're the top 0.1% on 100 things, well, that means there's like 10,000 people that have a better insight than you have. That makes you number 9,999. And the world is getting to the point where it really wants to go to the opinion of the top 1, 2, or it might take 3 opinions. Maybe it can deal with 3 or 4 opinions. It doesn't care about the opinion of the 9,000th best person in something. And we're all talking to each other. So I think laser-like focus on what you're doing. And my general view is you can discuss 100 things with your circle of trust, your friends and your family. You can engage in 10 things, as part of your vocation to make a living. But you ought to speak about one thing, right? I focus upon what is it the world needs to know about this one thing that I'm focused on. And I stay in my lane, and I let other people be the experts on all of the other things, because the world's a big place. It's very complicated. And I don't want to dilute my message, distract my followers, or dissipate my energy.
Bitcoin's rise to a new high of $19,000 on Trump's inauguration day shows that it is becoming more important as a safe place for money. Michael Saylor's view on Bitcoin as a form of digital property is very relevant right now. A Saylor highlights how Bitcoin can securely store and transfer wealth, comparing it to having a valuable piece of Manhattan that is limited in supply and will last into the future. This comment comes during discussions about Trump's support for cryptocurrencies and potential executive orders related to them. Bitcoin's price rise shows that people expect more widespread use and acceptance by big institutions. Saylor's understanding of Bitcoin's flexibility matches the changing crypto market. He explained 3 ways for people to own Bitcoin: using ETFs for ease, exchanges for flexibility, and self-custody for complete control. Bitcoin helps protect against inflation and weak economies. For institutions and states, it is a strong way to maintain financial independence. Rumors about Trump's plan for a crypto reserve support the idea that Bitcoin is more than just money. It's an important part of the future digital economy. During Trump's inauguration, meme coins were popular in the news, but it's important to be careful with risky investments. While Trump-related coins show a change in culture, they remind us to see the difference between Bitcoin's long-term value and the ups and downs of popular but unstable tokens. Bitcoin's unusual price changes show that it is becoming more accepted in regular finance, according to Saylor. People who support owning Bitcoin believe it is valuable as a safe and easy way to store wealth, especially in today's unpredictable economy. As we finish, we want to know, how do you keep your Bitcoin, or have you not bought any yet? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, please like this video and share it. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and follow.